There are a number of committees that the KPFT local station board has. They are supposed to support the work of the station. One is outreach, one is development, one is anti-racism and diversity, and the convener of that committee is here, Georgia Provost, hopefully, right here in the front row. The purpose of the Anti-Racism and Diversity Committee is to help us to build the audience in basically every audience except white males who are not handicapped between the ages of 21 and 65. Diversity, black, brown, Asian, Native American, every ethnicity, every religious group except, I guess, white male Christians. We're trying to make sure that KPFT becomes a more diverse radio station with a more diverse audience. And if you wish to participate in the Anti-Racism and Diversity Committee, please see this lady. You know, we can do all the broadcasting we want, but if people aren't listening, then what's the point? The Development Committee is a committee that works to raise money for the radio station. We have some people on staff who are working in that regard, and they can probably use some help. We need to find people with deep pockets, and you know, there have been people who are contending that we're trying to do something that's negative to the radio station. I hope this dispels that. What we're trying to do is to build this radio station so that it becomes the most powerful radio station in the greater Houston area. Sure. The agenda, I know all of you, probably all of you have one. Welcome. We're getting closer. Okay. Our agenda says that we were going to call this meeting to order at 7 o'clock, and then I was going to present a motion to move into a quasi-committee of the whole. We're getting closer. Come on up. Anywhere you want. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11. We have 11 board members here.
Cliff.
To be official, we need 2 more, but I got you. The idea of operating in a quasi-committee of the whole is to allow us to have just informal conversation. We're going to share with you our ideas, and then we are going to read at least the statement from Bill Crozier, who is out of town tonight. So we will hear what he said in attempting to terminate over DK Kamau. Then Dr. Kamau will be given 10 minutes for his statement, and then each member of the board who is seated up here will be given 2 minutes to speak in alphabetical order, and then it will be your turn. Each person will be given 1 minute to speak for a total of 1 hour. So if there are more than 60 people, you're kind of out of luck. And then from all of these comments, and you might have an idea and you may state it in your 1 minute, and you might even write it down and give it to us. You might have an idea for a motion that we will debate and then vote on. But that vote will be unofficial. That vote will be something that will be carried to our board meeting that will take place at the Montrose Center on the second Wednesday in August. That's August the 9th. That meeting starts at 7 p.m. This is an unusual meeting, and it's the first one where we've ever had any difficulty with getting a quorum. And I'm going to see if we can get some consensus up here from the members of the board. And that is, I don't even know if consensus is necessary, but I want to see if we can get it. Is there anybody here who is a board member who objects to us beginning at this point? Okay, no one objects, then we're going to proceed without a full quorum. And the idea is to proceed with the agenda that I just described. Is there anybody who objects to that? See what kind of a night this is going to be? We're all going to get along. And I really believe that. Okay. I don't have the hard copy of what Bill Crozier wrote, but it was photographed earlier today. And
see Anissa?
Anissa? Where are you? Oh, good. We're getting closer to quorum. Okay. What's really important is when we get to the motions part. Okay. Let's see if I can find that picture.
Bob Ford has a question. Question to take if you might want to address it.
You're gonna have to get your act
I
together.
got it. Hi, Bob. I think this thing I'm about to read will give it to you exactly. And bear with me because it's a tiny screen and it's an 8.5 by 11 written statement. And it says effective, this is dated July the 14th, which was last Friday. And it's from Bill Crozier, the interim executive director of the Pacifica Foundation and also a member of the KPFT local station board. Effective immediately, Larry Winters, longtime volunteer KPFT producer and host of Spare Change on Saturday afternoon, is the new interim general manager for KPFT. KPFT is an important part of the Pacifica family, and I am committed to make sure that KPFT not just survives, but grows and thrives. KPFT needs to reverse its declining listenership and support, and we can't wait any longer to do that. I want KPFT and all of our stations to be strong, especially in these days of increased attacks on independent media. But some changes are needed now to keep KPFT afloat. And I encourage everyone to support Larry Winters and what he will need to do to make sure that happens. KPFT has been undergoing some severe financial difficulties, is over $160,000 behind in paying its portion of Pacifica's shared services, has not made any payments at all on the loan for its new transmitter, and has not been able to develop any plan to get its finances under control despite repeated requests. KPFT had its third fund drive of the calendar year last month. KPFT's fund drives have been failing to reach their goals for some time, with each of the recent drives doing worse than the previous one. Last month's fund drive only brought in about 45% of its goal. We can't keep adding in more and more fund drives in order to compensate for that. KPFT is beginning to get some additional revenue from community partnerships and major donors, and that is good, and I want that to continue and grow. But that has not increased enough yet to make up for the drop in listener support, which is where almost all of KPFT's revenues comes from. Larry has agreed to work without a salary, at least for the near future, until KPFT's finances can be stabilized. And I really appreciate his commitment and willingness to do that in these times of financial distress for the station. I ask all of KPFT's paid and unpaid staff, local station board, and other volunteers and listeners to work with Larry to improve KPFT's finances, to get more listeners and financial support, and to keep our station strong so that we can continue to hear those independent voices and music for a long time to come. We cannot wait until the next fund drive to make changes that are critical for KPFT to continue. I want to thank Obadike Kamau for stepping up and filling the interim general manager position on a part-time basis since the beginning of January and full-time since mid-April. I appreciate the enthusiasm and new ideas he has brought to the station, and I hope that continues. KPFT's local station board is beginning a search for a new regular as opposed to interim general manager. Although there is no timetable for this, applications are being accepted, and the job description and information on applying for both this position and the GM position at KPFK in Los Angeles are at pacifica.org and kpfk.org. Thanks to all of you for your support of KPFT and independent media. Bill Crozier, Interim Executive Director. And there's just one, Pacifica Foundation, and his email address, ed@pacifica.org. Okay, have we had any additional arrivals? Do we have officially a quorum yet? Okay, well, be that as it may, and Pat, thank you very much for that. Dr. Kamau.
If you actually trying to tighten up so we can let other people sit on their own seats.
Yeah, will everyone please move to the middle, and we do have at least, we have 1-2 seats right here in the front row.
Tighten up, please. You got a whole lot of seats over here.
Can I have you?
Yes.
Please, if you can, sit down and
We have one seat right here.
Ernesto.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
We don't.
Anisha Williams just came.
I've been informed that we now have quorum. Benicia? Okay. Dr. Kamau, now that you have 10 minutes.
stand behind the podium.
You want the podium?
Yeah.
We're all reading these phones. I want to get started by first of all thanking everyone who has become involved in this situation, everyone who's supporting the station and myself, everyone who showed up on Friday, everyone who has spoken so eloquently on various social media, and everyone that is here in spirit. I will not, cannot start naming names or institutions of who has been involved in this because my 10 minutes would be up and I wouldn't even be finished. I want to read a statement, a post that I recently made on Facebook, and then I'll speak from notes. I have to this point been pretty quiet about all the chaos that has been caused by Bill Crozier's unfortunate and misguided action that culminated on July 14th and 18th. First of all, I wish to thank all of you who are supporting me in the changes I am working to implement at KPFT. To this point, the most frustrating aspect of this situation is facing unnecessary obstacles to see if the seeds, the staff, other volunteers, and I have planted will bear fruit. The initiatives we have been implementing have great potential to lead the Mighty 90 to a new level of financial performance that will allow us to grow significantly. At this point, I have no interest in suing despite the obvious illegality in the attempt to terminate me, as well as the other 3 members of the KPFT staff. I, at this point, simply want to see if what we have been doing works, and if we are able to return to those efforts, then no harm, no foul. I also must say that despite the dedication to improving the financial situation of KPFT, which some of the players in this scenario claim that their actions are based on, are very questionable. And it's difficult to see how their behavior, and not just in my situation, can contribute to a financially stronger station. I invite everyone who can to attend this meeting. I will make a statement there. After that meeting, I plan to make a more detailed post. This situation will play out however it does. Remember that contests take place over time and are fought in rounds or quarters or innings. It's not over until it's over. Meanwhile, keep your head up, stay strong, and don't just fight the power, be the power. Real quickly, I want to talk about how I became acquainted with KPFT. In the early 1980s, 1981, if my memory bank served me correctly, I was a guest on KPFT as a poet. At that time, I was running everywhere, talking loud and saying something. One of the KPFT programmers heard a reading that I did, invited me onto her show. I went on her show, and as a result to that show, I was called into the manager's office by Ray Hill, and he invited me to have a show on KPFT. I can't talk about how thrilled I was at that development, but needless to say, I was. And from that point on, probably for 8 or 9 years, I was associated with KPFT, left and came back, became a programmer again on KPFT up until about 4 years ago when I pursued other media efforts. But until I came on as IGM, I had not been involved in media for 3 or 4 years. In December, I was asked to consider applying for this position by some members of the then local station board. I thought about it and said, okay, I'll consider. I don't know how much I really thought I would end up with the position, but I did. And when I was asked to come into it, I really threw up a couple of what I thought were roadblocks. The first thing I did was say that that I needed to do it on a part-time basis. After all, I had a job, and I didn't think that was going to work. It's clearly more than a part-time job, but I was called back in a day or so and told that's all right. Then I figured that I was going to throw the real deal breaker in there. I said that if I come over there, I know that there are serious financial issues, and I would have to be allowed to do underwriting. Underwriting is a four-letter word at Pacifica, so I thought, well, it was a nice thought. But lo and behold, a day or so later, I was called and told that I could, in fact, pursue underwriting. And so I went over there as a part-time person in January, but on so many levels, I was able to see enough to say that I would take a chance on it. I really kind of count my tenure from the middle of April when I came on as full-time, because that's when I began to be in charge. So I was in the process of initiating several different efforts. Very quickly, I knew that the fund drive is a dying model. I knew that KPFT is in a new media environment that's digital, that people have many more access to choices for the information and media they receive, and that regardless of the fact that people have to pay for those media sources basically every month, KPFT was radio, and you could listen to it for free. We were public, so therefore we did not go to corporate for support in the form of ads, and that choice, those choices were what allow us to have the freedom in content that we do. So that's how I got back to KPFT. I went and I had told how terrible the staff was, and the thing that I discovered once I got on there, that the staff was not only not terrible, for the most part, they were wonderful.
Back up a little bit off the mic.
Okay, and if,
Keep a little bit of distance right here.
okay. So does my 10 minutes start over?
You've got 4.
Yes.
So as the staff and I came together and really began to work in harmony, and I think everybody, especially me, is very excited about the potential we have. I have to say that KPFT's primary way of raising money had been the fund drive. I also must say that over the past 10 years, KPFT has missed every goal of every fund drive except for one. One of the things I discovered from looking was that often the goal for what we needed to make was significantly lessened. And I think in that way, what we raised as opposed to what we needed was reduced. It's a kind of quick thing, and it's something that I didn't take advantage of in the one fund drive that I have coordinated. I also must say that there was a very strong emphasis on why I didn't panic. So I'm not going to stay with that. I want to say that in KPFT's voluminous bureaucracy, that the general manager is responsible for day-to-day operations. I must say that there's a very difficult mental place that the current IED has as far as staying in his own lane. And just a quick example, on June the 27th, which took an entire day from our fund drive, there was a national fund drive, and that fund drive made less than $30,000. So if that one fund drive is your demise, every general manager across the foundation should have been fired. It just shows how you can no longer rely on fund drives. So we created a very detailed plan, and we are in the process of implementing that plan. I must say that as far as the resources I had, the staff was one of the major ones. We were surrounded by talent, intelligence, and creativity. I generally have high expectations. There are a lot of loose ends at KPFT, but for the most part, I was unable to get to any of them because of the immediacy of our financial situation. As I said in that post, the biggest and most frustrating thing in this whole situation is not being able to see whether these seeds that we have planted together can grow. I also want to say that the very detailed plan that my staff and I provided, from what I understand, has been confiscated and is now Mr. Larry Winter's plan. I also
5 seconds.
Okay. I also must say that there have been 4 terminations, including mine, and that all of those terminations have taken place outside of the bylaws. As I said, the general manager is supposed to run day to day. Those other 3 termination letters were signed by the IED. So I want to say that KPFT needs a lot of help, and I think that the people who are writing it and working with me have the ability to provide that help, but we do need more than 30 days to realistically turn a battleship around. Thank you.
We have some late arrivals. Catherine Hunter.
If there is anyone who wishes to speak, there is a list. We can pass it around. Make sure you pass it to the next person and then send it back for me if you wish to speak at any time when it's time for the community. Please put your name on the list. Thank you.
We also have a speakers list out in the lobby, so whichever one is closer for you.
No, that one is not the authorized list. We can only have one list. We cannot have dueling lists.
Okay, I'm cool now that I know it's there. No. Let's combine the list.
You know, democracy is really tough when people decide they're going to take over a meeting that is being run by an elected body. We are now going to begin the 2-minute comments from the members of the board in alphabetical order. The first one is Adriana Casanet. Second is Elaine Duncan. If someone will give me the second list, it will follow the official list that Pat Hartwell has and is distributing right now. Can you pass the microphone down to Adriana?
Would you do the time?
Oh, let me say one more thing to the board. I urge you to use this at least and take notes, because I'm going to ask you at the end of this hour and the next, this maybe longer than an hour, but to make motions. And if you aren't taking notes, I don't know how you're going to make motions. All right, Adriana, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you. My name is Adriana Casney. I'm a LSP member, local station board member since 2013. And in 2014, I was moved to the National Board of Directors Pacific. A lot of things are going on in Pacifica. That is, all of you know that KPFT is just part of that. I believe that in all the stations, we have the same problem in all the stations. It's politics. We can, I said the other day, that we cannot be an island. We are exactly like our country. You know? And at the moment that we have the changes, political, big changes in this country, at the same time, Pacifica nationally have the same changes. Dr. Tamar was elected democratically by the LSP, according to our bylaws, but for reasons that all of you need to think about, we know why, but I hope that you make your own mind. He wasn't given the same chances that other general managers would have been almost 15 years, a failing station. I said before that in 2005, KPFT had more than 10,000 members. In 2016, less than 5,800. If that is not failing, I don't know what failing is. Like Dr. Kamal said, during all this time, permanently, only once the goals were, and was worse than that, because the goals were normally lower. You know, if I said that I need to raise 100,000 and I raised only 50, I said 50%, right? Okay, so I support Dr. Kamal and I think that he's totally unjust.
I really appreciate the hand claps, but I know that what will happen is that there's some people that you may not clap for. And so I'm going to ask everybody not to clap right now.
My name is Elaine Duncan, and I'm a new member on the board, and I'm in the process of trying to learn how to run it, how to listen to everyone, be part of it in a very chaotic time. I can't and don't want to comment on what happened because I don't think I've been here long enough. I'm sure all of you feel a lot stronger maybe than I do because I'm still learning. You've been around, you've felt it, you've worked it. All I can say is I hope everybody pulls together, do what you can do, donate what you can, if it's time, money, whatever you have, and let's pull us back together and make this viable again. Thank you.
Nick Economides.
Good evening. My name is Nick Economides. I'm the treasurer of the LSP, and I'm also a new member, full member of the LSP as of the last meeting. And I just really want to share two things with you. One is, I want to be careful about casting aspersions and guessing about people's motivations because I don't know the answers there. But I think it's obvious that this wasn't handled correctly. And the events of the station, I think, play that out. So I wanted to share that with you. The other thing I want to share with you is, as the treasurer, is I want you to understand the really significant and poor financial position that the station is in. The station is over $140,000 behind in payments to our parent, which is Pacifica. Pacifica is millions of dollars in debt and is in active litigation with several entities seeking to collect from us. More than I think that has been shared publicly, there is a real, I'm not saying probable, but possible that the sheriff could show up on any given day and chain the doors to the station and seize the assets. I believe that is true. Well, the station is significantly behind on its obligations. Pacifica is significantly behind on its obligations. I believe that these issues are severe and significant. And my point for sharing that, I certainly don't blame the doctor for this. These have been going on for a long time. These are not new problems. But I do think that you should be aware of them and what's going on. Because I do think that they play into the entire picture here. So those are my comments. Thank you.
Bob Gardner, and after Bob, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. Anissa Faruqi, and then Bob Gardner. It's a little difficult when people come in a little late.
A lot of these issues are systemic. They've been around since 2012, 2010. I first started listening to the station. I listened to the station through my uncle. The fact is that at the time, there was talk of a Hispanic programming, but there was no action. And unfortunately, that's a big thing. There's a lot of wonderful, great ideas that don't get off the ground. A lot of people complain because they think we're becoming a black station. Just because we have black programming will not make us a black station. We need more Hispanic programming, and even being known for a little Hispanic programming will not make us a Hispanic station. The fact is, when I talk to people on the bus, the few people who do know about the radio station only know it as a old hippie radio station. And one person asked me if the station was still on the air. So I hope that gives y'all a better picture of what the picture that we present to the community is.
Bob Gardner.
Hi. Nick just finished with some what would seem to be hard facts. And the word methods occurred to me. You know, it's of less use to talk about methods if the plug in the bathtub has been pulled and all the water's disappearing. But I got elected almost by coincidence because I wasn't on a green card that was sent out to membership. It was funded by Grace and Ken Aaron in California. She's a former Pacifica director. She's, I believe, on the board of one of the Pacifica stations at present. And they did a blanket mailing to not even just our station, and had a real slick card that had people's photographs on it. Mine was not on it. A year or two ago, when Cliff Smith got elected, I was approached immediately by Bill Crozier and happenstance, Teresa Allen, and it was like they were ready to move in on me with something. And I didn't immediately jump, and then it was quickly they learned that I had not been elected. So methods to me are the basis that I question some of the moves that are being made and have been made immediately in the most recent past in removing OBDK Kamau. You've heard from a few others tonight already that the evidence is there. The station's been in attrition for years, and those are some of the arguments in a letter, I think, that was posted in the station as being Crozier's reasoning. I can't trust Bill Crozier because of that secretiveness.
The next speaker will be Lars Headington, followed by Catherine Hunter.
Is Lars here?
Yes. Hello, my name is Lars. I'm a programmer. I'm 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mellow Mondays, Wide Open Spaces, just to put a plug in. I've only recently been seated on the board. This is my third meeting. And I have to say, on Mondays, I of course see OBDK since he's come on as the general manager. And I've seen the positive influence he's had around the station. He's always greeted me, he's greeting everyone that comes in. There's always positive interaction, and I think I see that in the staff. I think the staff is closer, operating together under OBDK, has been. And so a decision like this by the IED, which is Bill Crozier, to abruptly take OBDK out of a system that he was starting to put into place, as he mentioned, due to planting seeds. He's not, at least in the current situation, he wouldn't be able to see the fruit of that. And after just 3 months, it's very unfair. And aside from just unfairness, him being able to see a plan through, to see if it's going to work, change what we've already detailed has been long-going problems financially with KPFT. It's also, from what I understand, against Pacifica bylaws, where even the hiring, as I mentioned, it was going through the proper process to hire OBDK on as the IED, or IGM. It also has to go through the process through the LSB for him to be removed. And the fact that it wasn't even brought through the LSB in any way, shape, or form. Just a month earlier, it's been detailed, or maybe it hasn't been mentioned yet. The board LSB had passed a motion pledging support for what OBDK has been doing. You know, talking about underwriting, really backing that with Brian. And some of the programming changes he's made, like adding the Voices hour that I get to follow up, which is really wonderful. So some of these things that he's been doing, and we know he's not going to change the finances overnight, We vowed that as a local station board we support OBDK and any changes he needs to have made. And as to the other 3 firings, when you have an illegally, I said the other firing seemed to be illegal since he was still technically, in my mind, the GM. Thank you.
Catherine Hunter, followed by Wally James.
Okay, I want to say that I'm here for KPFT, not Pacifica. Regardless of whatever motivated the removal of OBDK, KPFT has to recognize that it was a mistake. Mistakes that, if handled correctly, could help KPFT grow. If handled incorrectly, it could lose the support of the people we need. If we want to ensure KPFT's survival, we will back OBDK. Instead of fast cash, he built support that is a long-term asset. Instead of asking, like KPFT has so often done, OBDK sought to give something back, to build something mutually beneficial, relationships, and also bring diversity of age and color values to KPFT. In addition to this, KPFT is progressive. We're labor. We have a pro-labor show. We use their union halls. How are we going to fire somebody like that? How are we going to be a pro-labor progressive voice and this is how we treat people? I just think it's wrong. Larry Winters, if he wants to be helpful, he's the new GM or whatever, he can be the new assistant GM, do the fundraising that's so important after OBDK decides whether or not he would like him to be the assistant GM.
Wally James, followed by Jim Kravka.
I am Wally James, and I'm also new to the board. And I am concerned about one thing, that this meeting was called when you knew that Bill Crozier wouldn't be able to be here to defend himself. And I told his brother us wait until he got back to town to do this. That said, we have had problems with finances at KPFT for some time, and they're just getting worse. And we really need to do something about that if this station is to survive. And it's going to take a lot of different people coming together with new ideas, because what we've been doing just isn't working.
Jim Kravka, followed by Adrian LaViolette.
I'm Jim Kravka. I wasn't hoping to do some public speaking tonight, but I guess I will. I came down on Friday to support OBDK because I'm here as a result of being in favor of due process. In these times, this wonderful group of people, we're all supposed to be coming together to fight the problems in our society, such as the governor who just ran stuff down our throats, the president that ran stuff down our throats, and now this got ran down our throats a few days after a contentious board meeting where none of this stuff was discussed. So I would like to hear more about this story and apply.
Adrian LaViolette, followed by P.K. McCary.
Dr. Kamal was given 3 months to turn the sinking ship around. You can't do something like that in 3 months. I'm also new to the board, but I've learned a lot in a very short period of time. And one of the things that really didn't make any sense to me is if you didn't like the way Dr. Kamal was doing things, you could have put him on a performance improvement plan with feasible goals that could have been met within a specific time frame. Everything that would have been even equivalent to any type of due process or anything democratic was completely bypassed. The bylaws were bypassed. Any type of reason was not that made any sense was not given. The finances have been in turmoil for 15 years with a failing GM that was incredibly unpopular. It seems to me that Dr. Kamal was incredibly popular with the staff. He instituted all kinds of great ideas that were kept for Larry Winters to continue on with these ideas. So it just doesn't make any sense. No matter if you care about the finances and you care about the community and you care about the board, why not lend some respect to this community and the board and the finances by not setting a system up in place where you're firing somebody who didn't even have a chance and setting the Pacific up for a possible lawsuit, perhaps. It's by the grace of Dr. Kamal that the station's not going to be sued, perhaps, but who could blame him if he did? They point to the one failed drive. Well, that's one data point. That's not a trend. You can't judge someone on one failed pledge drive. So, to me, logic doesn't prevail in this case.
P.K. McCary, followed by Cliff Smith.
Obadiah Kamal was not given this position to be a seat warmer by the local station board. Those who were asked to consider this position as interim had to ask themselves this question: am I the person to step into this role? And then the question the board had to ask was, is this the person to step into this role? Pacifica is behind in its obligations. KPFT is behind in its obligations. The question I would ask, however, is should the people who put us in this position or who have been in the position to change the culture and fix the problems and didn't be the ones to solve them? I think the answer is no. Not on our watch. The decision to fire Dr. Kamal was ill-advised. It seemed covert as it was done to the GM in Los Angeles without warning. We were blessed that we were warned and able to circumvent what would have been done in the dark. Do your homework. Sometimes people stay too long.
Cliff Smith, if you wish to speak, followed by me. Cliff, do you want to come up to speak? Do you want to speak?
I don't want to hear from the boss. Whatever liberal boss will present. I want to hear from you. I want you to tell. Okay. I want you to tell me what you want. This is your station. It's not ours. It's all of our stations. And if you can't work together, you're going to blow. And you may not get another chance.
It's my 2 minutes and then Benicio Williams. Bylaws matter. 16 years ago, the Pacifica Foundation went to court and a judge adjudicated this matter and put the bylaws that we now operate under into place. And then last Friday, our interim executive director completely eviscerated those bylaws, in my opinion. One of the things that the bylaws say is if the executive director who can initiate the termination of a general manager and the local station board can't agree. Let me just stop right there. If the two cannot agree. We had a board meeting a week ago on Wednesday. There would have been an opportunity for him to say, I am going to initiate the termination of Obadiah Kamal. Do you all agree with me? He wouldn't have gotten it, I don't think, but he could have tried. He didn't do that. 2 days later, he issued an edict. Democracy in America? Democracy now at KPFT? I don't think so. What we're looking for right now is a restraining order, and one will probably be filed sometime next week. That will stop everything. Some of us were ushered out of the radio station and told we would be arrested this past Tuesday. I was upset with Dr. King when he didn't keep going on that first day, Bloody Sunday, Edmund Pettus Bridge, but he did the right thing. He turned around and went back. We went and saw the district attorney the next day and found out that she did not tell the police that we were supposed to be evicted, and the very next day I went to a meeting. So we're not evicted any longer.
First of all, I just want to say thank you for voting me on to this local station board, because I'm the new kid on the block with Alexandra, and December was my first time being on this board. I am a 25-year career public broadcast, Emmy Award winning, CPB Award winning, national producer, manager, you name it. I stand with Dr. Kamar 100%, because anybody that knows anything about leadership and fundraising, you don't turn the ship around in 2.5 months. Ironically, today I was opening up my mail and my renewal statement was in the mail, signed by Dr. Kamar. It was dated June the 23rd. I seriously looked at that piece of paper to decide whether I was going to write that check or not, but then I wrote the check because I know as a board member, I have to be a financially active member of KPFT. And like Alexandra said, I'm here for KPFT. Because at the end of the day, the FCC runs this, not Pacifica. With that being said, there were a lot of things being turned around from a fundraising standpoint. We were constantly in conversation as the new kids on the block, as the young kids on the block, fundraising, what is that? Fund drives, they do not work. And as a board member, let me tell you something, I'm not going to support another one until November in conjunction with Giving Tuesday. If you don't know what Giving Tuesday is, please go look it up. Google it and look it up. From then on, we need to survive on donations. Anyways, once again, I just want to say thank you, because you guys are the ones that put me on this board. Being from San Francisco, California, I didn't know who was voting for me. I really truly don't. So thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. We are now going to public comment. We have a total of 36 people on this list, and we will take additional names. And yes, Adriana.
Was not proper because we don't have the 4 officers. But in this meeting, we have the chair, the vice chair, the treasurer, and the pro-tem secretary. It means that the 4 officers are here. That means this meeting is valid, and you make this meeting valid.
As I said earlier, after this phase of the meeting, public comment, and this lady here can take additional names as long as everybody sticks with the plan, and we don't have to use the whole hour because we've got some work to do after this, and that will be for motions to be presented by this body, and these motions will be voted on, debated and voted on tonight, but that vote will not have standing. This meeting was not properly broadcast over KPFT through no fault of ours, but we have to have multiple broadcast announcements of these meetings over the course of multiple days. That will resume next week, but we are going to have at least 36 one-minute speakers. See this lady in the blue shirt if you decide you want to speak. Our first 1-minute speaker is Greg Odell, followed by Gloria Ruback. I would hope, I would like the second speaker to line up right after the first speaker. I don't want you to come up here.
No, okay.
If you do it, everybody will, and we'll have a real mess.
All right, I don't know how I'm going to get a third of what I want to get done in 1 minute because I've been living this for 2 years. I have seen the miserable pledge drives. I have heard Dwayne Bradley say we don't need to worry about paying central services fees because they don't do anything for us, so we don't worry about them. That was long before Dr. Kamau came upon. I've heard some people say, OBDK's a nice guy, but he's just not the guy for the job. You know what? I think racism today is subtler and quieter than what we think it is. Why is he? It doesn't matter if he's a nice guy. It matters that he's been doing the job to bring the money in. And we've said from day one, pledge drives are dead. We have alienated our listeners. We need to bring more programming on that people are actually listening to. These are the groundwork plans, along with events each and every month that we've been planning, that Larry Winters is so pleased with, he's going to use them himself. So I still don't know what the problem was. You used to see me here defend Bill Crozier before the board.
We are going to spend 1 hour in this phase, and those at the beginning of the list will have a second opportunity to speak if we do not use the full minute. Gloria, will you please come up here, followed by Tori Mercer.
Hello, everybody. Back in 1970, and I don't know if anybody else here was involved, I was out on the street getting signatures to get a Pacifica radio station here in Houston. We fought for that, and we got it. And when it began, it was the most awesome thing I'd ever seen. When the cops were on Dowling Street getting ready to attack the Black Panther Party, all they had to do was walk in the station and they could be on the air. This sister mentioned Latino or Hispanic programming. One of the best shows that was ever on was called Muévete o Te Muevo, which means move or I'm going to move you. And that's what I feel about Bill Crozier. The elephant in this whole room is that the white boys have been running this station. Now, Houston is the most diverse city in the country. We need to make our station represent this city.
Tori Mercer, please come up. Tori, please come up. Followed by T.C. Smythe. And by the way, a lot of these people have been programmers. They know about time limits in radio.
I'll try to make this as quick as possible.
You got 1 minute.
The Pacifica mission statement is Pacifica's only reason for being. It should be tattooed on the back of everyone's eyelids that gets behind a microphone or holds any administrative position. It's the only flag we have and ultimately the only thing we're fighting for. Its essence is peace, harmony, and inclusion. Pacifica is a California corporation. Corporations are judged by how they fulfill their missions. For-profit corporations' mission is to make money and enrich their investors. The unwritten social contract is to provide jobs. Unprofitable for-profits go out of business, and profitable corporations that outsource labor violate the social contract. Nonprofit corporations are judged very differently. In nonprofits, the social contract is the mission statement of the organization that justifies the state charter to incorporate, and nonprofits are judged by how efficiently they use their grant and donation funds in support of the mission. When nonprofits have low administration costs and service to the mission, they are judged as good. When the percentages of funds used for administration goes up, so should the eyebrows. Pacifica is a...
You may have a chance on the back there. Brian Sanchez, T.C. Smythe, followed by Brian Sanchez and Kofi Taharka. And I would like to ask each of you to come on up so that we don't have any delays.
All right, I would agree that I don't think anybody in this room would be qualified enough to turn a $7 million debt around in 3 months, but I don't think that was what was asked for either. I think what was asked for was the plan to turn around the ship. I was never able to locate the URL where this plan was ever published, and now I understand Larry Winters has co-opted it. All right, so where is it published so that we can at least read and see if it's a worthy plan? Did you ever publish it when you wrote it?
No.
No? Okay, so we'll never know. But
No, we can publish it.
well, in the absence of that, could I ask, could you assure the donors that the money they donate will continue to support the programs they donated it to?
They haven't. They
Okay,
haven't.
I wasn't allowed to answer when I was on the board either, so I understand. Here you go, Ted. All right.
Okay. Brian Sanchez, then Kofi Taharka, and then Bernard Sampson. Please come up.
Hello. My name is Brian. I am the Director of Underwriting. I worked with OBDK Kamal, Dr. Kamal, and I just wanted to briefly actually speak about that plan because what we worked on was a marketing strategy, was new development stuff. We were looking at grant writing. We were looking at community partnerships, business partnerships, a really wide variety of things that we were implementing to generate and look at new ways of revenue for the station that isn't just pledge drive feedback loop. And so we did generate this really large plan at his behest and all these initiatives that we were looking at. And this week I was asked to continue that plan under Larry Winters, but not with Dr. Kamal, whose plan is the one that I am supposed to now be instituting. And if it's not good enough for Dr. Kamal, it's not good enough for KPFT, but all of a sudden, it's good enough. Okay.
Kofi Taharka, followed by Bernard Sampson and Norman Garrett.
My name is Kofi Taharka. I have the privilege, the honor, and responsibility of being the national chairman of the National Black United Front. Since last Friday, I was able to speak to organizers, activists, and revolutionaries who are very familiar with KPFT from LA, New York, and Washington, D.C. And some common themes began to emerge. One is that Pacifica, both nationally and locally, is infected with the disease of global white supremacy and racism. And these are the people that have been running this organization. That what happened to Dr. Kamal is not unique in Pacifica or in Houston. The double standard that exists, the dirty tricks, the underhandedness, the secretiveness, this is what has helped cause this station to lose many black programmers, many progressive programmers, and one of the best ever was Brother Zen. That's why he left this station, because of all of the BS that was going on. And it's going on nationally. So there are national politics that are involved in it. My time is up, Ted. I'm doing good. We in shape, Center. I'm just going to take just a half a second. With respect. With respect. And see, there are a lot of people in our community, if we say this is what we get from the progressives, the leftists, the revolutionaries, and this is another thing, that some of you all are some of the most racist SOBs that there are. And many of us say, or on the verge of saying, the hell with all of you all, because of, this is just the head what happened to Dr. Kamal, because of all of the stuff that we have seen locally. And we have some suggestions for solutions, but I'm going to respect the program.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Bernard Sampson, followed by Norman Garrett and Bernadine Williams.
Okay, first let me say, KPFT has been around for almost 50 years. And in 50 years, they've never had an African American or a person of color running the show. There's something wrong with that. Even capitalist enterprises have gone better than that with affirmative action. It's a shame. And when they finally do hire a person of color, Dr. Kamal, they fire him after 3 months. You know, KPFT has had its towers blown up by the KKK. They've had shots fired through the windows. KPFT will not fall from the forces without. It will fall from the white chauvinism and racism that's inside the progressive, so-called progressive movement at the station.
Norman Garrett, followed by Bernadine Williams, followed by Teresa Allen.
I'm new to this area, to Houston area. I was compelled to come to the station because of the programming processes that I was experiencing here. The history of the station. I was first started listening to Brother Muhammad and his program. And I said, wait a minute, but then you have this Dwayne Bradley guy, and all these people. This diversity, for me, that was my draw. Because that meant there was a conversation going on. Not necessarily an agreement, but agreement to disagree. You know, we have a legal document. We abide by that document. The state will demand that. It doesn't have to be a lawsuit by the doctor. It can be a law. This is a public space. And we have to maintain the public space. Thank you.
Bernadine Williams, followed by Teresa Allen, followed by Akua Fayette.
Actually, I wasn't quite sure what I was going to say today, but I just want Dr. Kamau and the LSB to know that the community stands with him. Many of our organizations stand behind him, and we are all here to support his reinstatement as general manager of KPFT. It's a station that belongs to the people. It's a Blue Hill station. It's a Pacifica vision and mission that is not being served by the action of Bill Crozier. And I hope at some point tonight they will address the issue of how do we remove Bill Crozier, because he's appointed out of LSB, and we are the ones who can remove him. He needs to go.
Teresa Allen, then Akua Fayette, and Nancy Saibara Naratomi.
Hi. I've been working with the development committee for a number of years, ever since I think it was Wendy Shrell was chair, and she resigned a long time ago. I've worked, I guess, at the state of the station last May, when our Hispanic program director resigned. At that time, we had a full-time Caucasian general manager, a black director, full-time black development director, full-time black administrative assistant, full-time black business manager, full-time black membership director, 2 part-time Caucasian membership people, and a full-time black news director. Irregardless of your age, or your race, or your ethnicity, or where you come from, I want to serve our listeners. I want them more engaged. I want more listeners and more engaged in the station. I want them covering the issues, and I want service to our listeners and our members.
Akua Fayette, Nancy Saibara Naratomi, Fabian Sneevlet.
I really didn't want to speak tonight because you heard I'm sick of being sick, I'm tired of being tired. But I would like to say that whatever we do here tonight, if we don't come together for people as a public and really decide, is this our radio station or not? Is it really a public radio station? How did it get to this point? Because the public was not engaged, because the station did not engage with the public. And I had asked them when I come, I would knock on doors to doctors and people and bring money in my hand doing fund drives. And they looked at it like the $400 from this person was nothing. So do you think I was going to keep running around knocking on doors asking for money and saying, let's go into the community? Money will come, but people are not going to always bring it to you, and there are other ways that the radio station could have filtered into the community and helped it to grow. Can't grow in that little house. And why is it painted like that? So the folks in the neighborhood would want it to be closed down. That's my opinion.
Nancy Saibara Naratomi, Fabian Sneevlet, Don Freeman.
Hi, I'm Nancy. I'd like to tell you, I didn't hear everything, so I'm sorry if I'm repeating, but Bill Crozier talked to the protesters that came to state KPFT on Friday, July 14th, La Bastille Day. And good day. And he said he justified his action of bypassing the bylaw process, which requires the foundation director to work together with a process with the board, not just cut off a head. So he said he defended himself by saying he's the interim. He's not the foundation director. He's the interim foundation director. In the bylaws, there's no word interim. But, you know, common sense
This is like kindergarten, like, you know, don't hit on the playground. Okay, I stepped 2 inches out of the playground, I can hit Bobby. You know, this is very kindergarten. That's what we're against. So it's but to solve this problem, oh shoot.
Fabian Sneedlet, Don Freeman, Lisa Blaylock.
Hi everybody, I'm Fabian with Students for a Democratic Society. We stand in solidarity with Obadike and we call for the immediate reinstatement of Obadike, and we think that Bill Crozier should be removed and that it should be up to Obadike to decide who replaces him and to the people who listen to KPFT. Thank you.
Don Freeman, Lisa Blaylock, Courtney Wilson.
Hold that mic a few inches away, like 4 inches away from the mouth, please.
I think I got it right. Yeah, I got it right. Okay, I started last year on an HD side, and I was under Dwayne Bradley. And anything I would throw out there to make radio a little bit better for everybody else besides the, you know, our average listeners, which everybody knows, it's 45 and up. Well, I'm not 45, I'm 32. What about the 32-year-olds? What about the younger people? Well, that's where they put the HD side on. Me and OBDK, we came up with a great plan to change around this whole station to make it not just for 45 and up, for everybody. And I guess now it's Larry Winter's turn to go, oh, look what I did. He will never talk to me about it, that's fine. But if he does, I'm gonna tell him what I think. I think the way that you got rid of OBDK, look, if a man that I respect got fired and I was offered that job, I'm not taking it. Have some, like, just dignity, the gall to even do this. It's pretty ridiculous.
Thank you. Time. Sorry. Lisa Blaylock, Courtney Wilson, and I have a co here, but I don't think that's anyone. Then V. Edner, I think it was Kofi, and we skipped that. So, there you go. 1 minute.
Okay, I would like to first thank Dr. Obadike Kamal for everything he's done. He's done so much for the station. And, you know, it's so much disrespect that was given to him and degrading what's happened to him. So if y'all don't know the whole story, even though it's really short, I ask that y'all look into it. Last time I came to the board meeting, I wasn't very happy with the board, and I wasn't happy with somebody in particular. I'm not going to mention any names because I'm not allowed to do that because that's how I wasn't allowed to talk last time. But that person just so happened to be the person that called the police when Dr. Kamal was escorted out by the police. Okay, so I won't be able to talk very much tonight, but I will be on the radio tonight on KPFT tonight after midnight from 1 to 6 in the morning. I'm Lisa Blaylock. My show is Night Sounds. If y'all want to talk to me about this, I'd be happy to talk with y'all. Thank y'all so much.
No. At the end. Courtney.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to insist. There's a big thing about who called the police when they came on Tuesday. The thing is that Dr. Obadike called the police based on being asked by someone that was there with him. But what we have also learned is that the police said that the district attorney told them to give them trespassing warnings and to escort them off, and that was not true, and there's an investigation where the police who have said that will now be brought under scrutiny, but also the person who told those policemen to do what they did.
Courtney Wilson, V. Edner, and Ed Barr.
Hi everyone, I'm Courtney. I'm really honored to be able to speak in front of all of you. The main thing I want to say is that I support Obadike Kamal. I was really excited about the changes that were coming through. I've worked professionally in nonprofits for the last 15 years, and I know what has to be done to raise money in a nonprofit, and currently KPFT is not doing a lot of things that they should be doing. So I was very excited about the turnaround. even underwriting, I don't like that word either, but the fact that we are in a situation where it was going to be looked at, I did appreciate that. Also, side note, I won't mention any names, but I also, as far as security culture activists know what I'm talking about, please be aware that it's possible someone has taken a picture of the sign-in sheet with all of our information on it. Just please be aware. If you need any other information, see me.
Actually, the Chronicle is here tonight, Allison Ward, and I think the Chronicle photographer is here in this very public meeting. V. Edner, Ed Barr, and Masood.
I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about Dr. K because he knows, and those of you who know him know what he brings to this station. But I will say this to you. Emily Dickinson wrote a poem that said, crumbling is not an instance act. It's organized decay. And this is an organized decay situation. In other words, racist hearts are systemic. This is a political and bureaucratic racist illegal trick by an interim who's saving his own neck. I just want us to know that anything that you want to happen cannot happen instantaneously. Chia pets have no root. That's why it's not a viable plant. But if something's going to make this different, it needs to have seeds that are cultivated and planted and then grown so that this station can regain its status in this diverse community. And the only way that that is going to happen is if the plan that Dr. K has brought forth, not Winters, K, comes to fruition. Thank you.
Ed Barr, Masood, and Joe Montez.
I met Dr. Kamal just some weeks ago, and within a few minutes, I said, I got to pony up some money. I put up $200 down. I put up $200 down, and my intention is to put up another $300. You know, if anybody can go through the bar and say, money, honey, and give the money, this is the man.
Masood, Joe Montez, Rick Potoff.
Good evening. It's very important to every meeting we go. We have to know what we have to do after the meeting is over. Otherwise, there are a lot of energy here, and then we go. And some of us cannot do exactly what we want to do for this case, but some people can do it, and they have to follow. One thing is very important for every organization, any revolution, any progressive organization, is the democratic principles. If you're not democratic, it doesn't matter how much money you have. And that's, I'm very happy to see LSB members that they're on the same page. What happened to Dr. Kamal, it wasn't fair, it wasn't democratic, and we have to follow it until that person was irresponsible is out. That's first. Second thing, this place, Shape Center, for 48 years, been fighting to keep these two centers with little money they have. But his heart, the people of this community, their heart was here, and money comes. During since 2001, when I started, I made the logo and then became very active, there was conscious effort to not this organization grow. They did everything. It was like a little tunnel. New people come, the old people go out. In 2008, we did a survey in the KPFT. Sorry. Thank you.
Joe Montez, Rick Potoff, Angie Agapidis.
Hello, everybody. I did Joe's Roadhouse on KPFT, and I'm also a former member of the local station board and the national board. And when I started at KPFT in '96, we were doing 3 fund drives a year. We were kicking ass and taking names. Programming is the lifeblood of radio, folks. Programming has slipped drastically, and you can see the results in 6 fund drives a year. I was here last month for a programmers meeting, and I heard ODK's ideas for underwriting, which I thought was a great idea. You know, it's Most people I talk to, when I say KPFT, they say, oh, I don't listen to that anymore because every time I turn on, it's all fund drives. Well, you listen to 88.7, and they do a mixture of fund drives and underwriting. This is a great idea, folks. I think OBDK had the right idea and had the right direction. And I can't believe that an interim national director has the ability to come down here and remove our interim general manager. And I want to thank Ted Wyatt-Segal, who I often have considered to be a pain in the ass. I knew you would let me say this. He's often been considered a pain in the ass, but he always surprises me by managing to do the right thing, and I applaud him for his actions.
Okay. Rick Potoff, Angie Agpides, and Becky Ray. Rick. Oh, okay. Angie Agpides, Becky Ray, Judy Emerson. Angie, come on up. That's why I'm calling these names. Becky Ray, Judy Emerson, and then Deloitte Parker.
I thought it was signing the sign-up sheet, the sign-in sheet. Well, I've been listening to KPFT since the 70s, and can't say I've done a lot, but I have contributed over the years. I agree with Masood that this is so undemocratic. We need to make it democratic by getting rid of Bill Crozier, and that they did this in such a horrible way. We just need to get some sanity back. I don't understand why they said one reason, that they didn't like his proposal or something, but somehow they like it now. But then it was, oh, we don't have the money. So that sounded duplicitous to me. I'm really nervous that we're losing this station with all this. It's been in the news and on the radio and on the television. But anyway, we just need to get rid of Bill Crozier. I don't know how we would do that, but certainly y'all have ideas.
Becky Ray, Judy Emerson, Deloitte Parker.
Thank you. I'm just speaking as a brand new volunteer programmer. I've come in the last 6-7 months. In the few months that I've been here, I've gotten a lot of inspiration, a lot of support, a lot of direction, and a lot of permission from OBDK to take new ideas, to engage the community. And it's just, I can tell you from efforts to reach out to the community in the last week, everyone's talking about how unprofessional it was, that there's been this a fight at the top of an organization that's supposed to represent the community. There's a lot of energy coming into the station. I've seen a lot of growth and a lot of engagement from people in the community. It's planting seeds. If you plant seeds, you may not see the plants grow for a little while, but I know that the leadership that I've gotten and the inspiration we've gotten from OBDK has helped us engage the community, and I would like to see him and his ideas continue to help us flourish.
Thank you very much. Judy Emerson, Deloitte Parker, Rachel Clark.
Hi, we've been failing financially for ages, and that has caused people not to want to donate because they don't know what the heck's going to happen to their money. The money is directed to something, and then somehow or other Dwayne Brandy walks off with it somewhere else. And he goes, it's supposed to go over here, and Dwayne gets it. What the hell? This is Radio for Peace. That means, we talk to each other, we help each other, and things happen right for the community. I've been listening since Mandy in the morning, and I love this place, and I love Shape. Thank you, Shape. Thank you, Lord. And OBDK is it. He is good, and his plan works. These getting grants and underwriting from people and organizations that we agree with. Not just taking whatever corporate money we can get hold of.
Deloitte Parker, Rachel Clark, Brother Brian Muhammad.
48 years I've served as executive director of Shape Community Center. From the beginning of this institution, I've been here. I've seen a lot. And I'm going to tell you right now, Shape Center represents a large number of people in this community. We have a large party. And I can feel comfortable saying, representing those that following, that we support Obadike Kamau 100%. So the family of Shape Community Center, the board of directors of Shape Community Center, the volunteers of Shape Community Center, all those people who come to Shape support Obadike Kamau. I just want to let you know that. And I feel comfortable saying that. So I'm saying to you today that KPFT is going to be, if it's going to continue to be around, we need the spirit, the energy, the knowledge, the understanding, and the support of Obadike Kamau. If we don't get it, we are not going to be able to make it through this time, these hard times. So again, on behalf of Shape Center, we endorse Obadike Kamau 100%, okay? Just want to let you know that.
I want to remind you, Rachel, come on, that we have additional names. We're at 35 plus about 10 more. We're up to 42. So it's Rachel Clark, Brother Brian Muhammad, and then Robert Ford.
Okay, I'm with the Houston Independent Media Show. I've been involved in one way or the other with KPFT for 17 years. I've seen a lot. Also in my day job, I work with nonprofits. I work to try to build systemic change in public education. That being said, when it comes to a plan, for a plan to be effective, it needs to have wide support and buy-in and multiple stakeholders. And I want to thank personally Dr. Kamau, because in the time you were at the helm, you started to plant the seeds and actually make that happen. When I came to the programmers meeting, there was an energy that I haven't seen since the lawsuit was settled in 2000, as far as people being excited and engaged. I also want to thank you because I watched you on Green Watch TV and I've heard your interview that thank you, Ernesto, I know has done a great job of posting on social media. You have still, I mean, this is an emotional, tough time for all of us. I can't imagine for you. You have handled yourself with poise, grace, professionalism, and continue to be reflective and own things that maybe were not done the way they should have been, but wanting to continue to move forward. And I just want to let you know that there's a lot of us that want to continue to support you in that, and thank you.
Brother Brian Muhammad, followed by Robert Ford and Pat Hartwell.
He said, Ron, who'd you get tonight?
Greetings, Assalamu alaikum. Mr. Farrakhan teaches us that the ideal does not exist. No matter what our politics are, this is not a democracy. America has never been that. And even though we may be socialist or communist or whatever, we live in a capitalist society. Here's the plan. We need from the board what we need to raise, and we need to go raise that money. Okay? The people are smarter than you think. Tell them the truth. Tell them what's at stake, and they'll come through every time. That's the KPFT I believe in. So let's do the work. Thank you. That's all right.
To clarify the record, that was Brother Robert Muhammad. His name was written as Brian on the sheet. I don't know how. Okay. Robert Ford, Pat Hartwell, Boise Jones.
Good evening. Robert Ford, 3rd Ward resident. I actually attended one of the board meetings of this organization and was really quite disappointed because there was no unanimity, no clear direction. Now, I want to use my time first to say I worked with this guy for 15 years. I know his capabilities and I know he can lead this organization. I don't need to say that because so many people have said it. I have a couple of questions. How many people have listened to KPFT? How many people have invested in KPFT? Now I want to know from the board, what happened to your market share? Someone said 10,000 members some time ago, 5,800 now. Are you actually using any strategic approaches to figuring out where your market share went and what you're going to do to get it back? Because if you don't get the market share in terms of membership, you can't raise a lot of money. So you have got to be more strategic as a board. That's my advice.
Pat Hartwell, Boise Jones, Alon Aparim.
Hi, I'm Pat from the Prison Show. First, I want to say that everybody that I know that I'm affiliated with supports OBDK, and we will not stop. Second, I want to say, under OBDK's leadership, he has brought the diversity that we deserve. And I also want to encourage every one of y'all in here to find a show that you like and come down and volunteer. Show Bill Crozier and his cronies that we are the community, we are the KPFT people, we will occupy KPFT, we will occupy the airwaves. We cannot do it without the community. It is nice that you send money, it is nice that you clap, it is nice that you go on Facebook and like our post. It is better that you show up in person for whatever show that you like. We're diverse. Come on out.
Boise Jones, Alon Aparim, Georgia Provost.
Thank you. My name is Boyce Jones. I arrived in Houston on April 5th, so I'd say I'm pretty much a quintessential listener. I've listened to public radio from KPFT in San Francisco to, you still hear me? Give me that. All right, thank you. What I'd like to really say is that, again, as a quintessential listener, it's very important that this type of program continues. I don't know what you guys have to do, but there's going to be a lot of people like me who come here that's going to really need to have some alternative programming. And whatever it's going to take, I really hope you guys get this thing together because it's very important. I know there's an African proverb that says, in the struggle between two elephants, it's the grass that suffers. Thank you.
Alon Aparim, Georgia Provost, Fred Hamilton.
45 years ago, next week, Carl Hampton was shot down over here on Dowling Street, now Emancipation Avenue. And we're again on the revolutionary times. There are only 2 stations in this city that are not commercial, and one of them has major support by university, underwriting, foundations, and everything else. I listen to both of these stations, not equally, because the other station has some really great programming that I find is educational during the midday times and so forth, science programs and so forth. But we need to do some revolutionary things. You can't go by the old methods. In this day and time, the media is fragmented, internet, we need to use it more, and so forth. OBD can come out, is eminently qualified, and we are supporting him for that reason. Thank you.
Georgia Provost, Fred Hamilton, Ataji Aziz.
I don't see Miss Provost. Where is she?
Okay, if Georgia's not here, Fred Hamilton.
Well, go ahead. We'll move on
Okay,
again.
we're going to keep moving, yes. My name is Fred Hamilton. And while I was sitting, I had a moment of clarity. Whatever it's worth, I've just determined that quite a few of the people that's in here is definitely involved in programming and things of that nature. But here's my moment of clarity. Underwriting is an issue. Endowment for the arts may have some money. Participation in significant venues like the Houston Astros, basketball games when they come. KPFT needs to be somewhere up close and personal. Here's another one. Mayor Turner comes out with all kinds of issues down at the mayor's office. KPFT needs to be close around to that, already doing that. Tie up PBS with something. PBS is out there and they should be doing something. Why can't we tie up with them in some meaningful way? Al Sharpton, he's another one. KPFT must be out front and
with noteworthy news. In other words, wherever the venue is, somebody needs to get out there so that it can be well known among the general public about KPFT.
Thank you.
Ataji Aziz, and then I need the second list, and if you want to speak and you're not on the list, you need to, we'll create a third list.
Oh, and Georgia will go after you.
I'm not here to sing Kumbaya. I'm not here to romanticize Obadike Kamau. I've known him for 37 years. I was one of the first women of color to run her own boards at KPFT. It was white male dominated, white woman dominated. But if we think that all the white racist people disappeared, we would have no problems. You are suffering from an illusion. If you think that you get everything that you see around Obadike Kamau, you are suffering from a delusion. These are not all his ideas. This is a group of people that helped him figure out these ideas. Robin Wilson, who was not here, has burnt the candle for everything that you see that we're talking about. It's a group. If you romanticize him, you were repeating the same mistake over and over and over again. My experience with KPFT before and now has not only been racism, but it has been sexism. Women of color have a hard time talking about sexism because we don't want to be rejected by black men and men of color. Just this week I was called baby girl. I'm a 64-year-old baby girl. Yesterday I was called dear one or dearest. I'm a 60-year-old dearest, whatever. I will not tolerate that. I have earned the right. I have volunteered at SHAPE, NAACP. I have volunteered since I was 13 years old, and I'm 64 years old now. People want me to do things and tasks and do my duty. I have a brilliant mind. So if we don't change the culture and do some healing, and we keep romanticizing, we would have failed the test. I want us to evolve. If you're a white radical and you can't call me on my internalized racism, I don't need you. I don't need you if you want to stay sexist. I don't need you if you don't want to be honest. I'm not here to romanticize anymore. I have died behind romanticizing. Wake up, women. Wake up, people of color. Wake up, white people. Go get some help. Just because you read Franz Fanon, you think you're not racist? I am sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Thank you.
Georgia's here.
You gonna pass? It's your turn, Georgia. I've had to follow her too.
Good evening, my name is Georgia Provost, and I'm gonna make it simple. I think KPFT is confused, totally confused, when they eliminate a person like Doc. I've been knowing him since I came to Texas Southern University. When you want to raise some money, when you want a good group of people together to raise the money, he can do it. And furthermore, he got Georgia Provost on his side. I like to raise Lajon. Y'all know what Lajon is? So everybody in this room, when they put him back in position, don't be acting like you got convenient amnesia. Write a check and hand deliver to KPFT.
Okay, Ashton, and we have 15 more minutes, so some of the people at the beginning of the list will be given a second opportunity to speak. Ashton Woods, Sister Mama Sonia, and Akua Holtz, followed by Brother Oliver. So come on up so we can make this move fast. Ashton Woods. Ashton Woods, Black Lives Matter, Houston.
Hey everybody, how are you? I'm not big on using microphones. Can you hear me? So here's what I have to say. I've been silent about this. We've been watching. So has the Black Lives Matter Network. This is bigger than Dr. K being put somewhere. This is about people trying to swing the pendulum back, a rusty-ass pendulum at that, for racism. Not just the White House, not just our state legislatures, but in our media. It is our opportunity to take that media and create it and build our own table. Because clearly, for all of these years, I'm 32 years old, now I'm talking about KPFT, and I'm from New Orleans. And I've heard about the homophobia. I've heard about the transphobia. I've heard about the anti-women mentalities. I've heard about the racism. I've even experienced it myself. So, do we want to clear the slate and start over and build a new foundation, or do we want to keep doing the same damn thing over and over again like you're saying? I know there's a lot of white people in here who are allies, like Brother Kofi said, but the fact of the matter is that there are not enough of you in the room right now. And that's a damn problem. So next time we have one of these meetings, y'all need to bring y'all white friends up in here who like to listen to KPFT, the ones who been donating to the pantsuit, to the Jill Steins, and to all these other people who actually say they give a fuck about what's going on and have them in here so they can find out what's going on and then change the damn thing. Because in Houston, all we have is KPFT that tells the truth.
Until it's time. Sister Mama Sonia, through a hope, Brother Oliver.
My country, tears of wheat, sweet land of bigotry, of thee I sing. Land where my father's brothers and sisters died, land of the pilgrims' false pride, from every mountainside, will freedom ever ring? If it looks like a duck, if it smells like a duck, if it looks like racism, if it looks like homophobia, if it looks like sexism, it is. That is what happened to Dr. Kamal. We support you. So, elephant in the room, racism still lives. And if it's going to die, you got to kill it.
And through a hope, Brother Oliver Tucker Wilson.
Stop apartheid radio. Stop apartheid radio. That's what I have to say about Pacifica, not just KPFT. And you know it must be threatening when people fly in from New York City to be in the audience incognito. You know it must be threatening when board members have to stand up and tell you how many black people are on staff and how many white people are on staff. That's not what this is about. This is about how you treat us. This is about how you treat humanity. This is about how you silence voices. That's what this is about. And we have met with the former manager, as well as some of the board members who are in this room for the past 15 years, to discuss how we can diversify the station and bring in more money, and they resisted. Right, Sister Pixela? You were there. PK, you were there. Esther King was there. Robert Muhammad was there. Gloria. So the first question must be, do they want us here? And I would tell you they don't. And they have systematically around the country silenced black and Latino and progressive white voices. But this is the people station. That's what someone asked me on Facebook. Why are you fighting over there for Pacifica? Why don't you come to internet radio? This is public radio. It does not belong to you. It belongs to the people. Even to our visitor from New York, this station belongs to the people.
Thank you. Brother Oliver, Tucker Wilson, Emily Nim.
Hey! All right. Brother Oliver, and I'm just a community person. You know, I don't move in a whole bunch of avenues, but I do move in some. And I'm a part of KPFT, Anti-Racial and Diversity Discrimination Committee. So the Ted knows, Sister Judy knows, and Nancy knows. Amen?
Amen.
All right. So now, what you do with these parks? Everybody wonder about this? Well, what about if it don't work? What you talking about? What you do with these punks? If punks ain't got nothing to do with homosexuality, look in your dictionary and they tell you a punk is a dry piece of wood. So that means they're dead. You need something alive. Get rid of these punks. What you do? All the members. If it don't work out the way you're trying to work it out, all the members need to vote and get a lawsuit because they're not holding up and their stuff. And also, Brother Obadiah, He do his lawsuit separate. Okay? And you hit him with the 1-2.
Time is up.
Okay. Time is up. So, hey, when that time is up, we get our own. Bye.
Dr. Wilson.
Good afternoon. With all due respect, I'm going to try to stay within the time limit here. But I wanted to speak specifically to you, Teresa. Ma'am, you are a part of the problem. It's interesting to me that you would stand here and rattle off the racial makeup of the staff when you neglected to say that just like lots of media outlets, your minority makeup counts when it comes to funding. Let's be real what the minority makeup is all about. Any staff is only as strong as its leadership. So although you never expressed concerns about the blatant racism, sexism, and every other ism that kept the entire staff oppressed and marginalized here at the radio station for peace, but then suddenly when a black GM gets into office, you are concerned enough to tell somebody that you are worried that KPFT is going to become a black radio station? You are part of the problem. Because I say to you, where were you when you could have been a part of the solution? When you could have been offering some type of help to try to fix the problem? You weren't worried about it being a black radio station when the white man was in charge, oppressing the very staff that you just talked about. Look at the leadership. Pacifica, any organization is only as strong as its leadership.
Emily Lim, Henry Cooper, and then back to the top of the list.
1 minute.
Hi, I'm Emily Nim. I'm volunteer with Freemanstown, and I've seen them take Glenwood Johnson down to tear down the community. We've seen what happened to our Democratic Party. I want to congratulate everyone in this room because no matter how many times this same phenomenon has happened with Pacifica, we've used the democratic process and gotten involved and changed it. You're the only group I've seen that's been able to beat that process. So keep it, and we're gonna win this. I think it's a great opportunity to launch campaigns like Uniting the Black Lives Matter with the All Lives Matter. I talked to a woman in California who agrees that we're gonna have a women's team around BLM and men's team around ALM, and we'll have friendly contests to raise more money, and everybody will win. So I would like Dr. K and KPFT to lead that movement. What's missing is we need to put national visibility on our leadership, and then they can't take someone down if they're being successful. So I want to team up with the 10 houses we're trying to save in Freemanstown. It's a National Historic Site. The mayor wants to hear that it's okay to save them, and yes, it is okay. He's waiting to hear that the public is okay with it. I propose to use those 10 houses to serve every district in Houston. So everyone here, wherever your district is, I want you to have one of those houses. Let's raise the money, and we'll show the mayor and everybody that KPFT has the power to raise the money for the things that we believe in. So we have an opportunity to turn this around. So thank you, and let's work together district by district and change this. Thank you.
Henry Cooper, and then I have Alma Cooper and Chris Leger, and then we'll go to the top of the list with about 5 minutes left.
Thank you to all of you because you are here and you are concerned about our radio station. My name is Henry Cooper. I am the programmer of Proyecto Latinoamericano. I have been in KPFT for about 16 years. And fortunately, we have seen that in the last 2-3 years, there are some members of our community that are starting to participate in KPFT. Not that our community hasn't been present, they have been for several years, but not in the proportion that they should be. One of our activists is telling me that right now, Chief Acevedo is asking, what the hell is going on in KPFT? When you have the chief of police asking you what is going in, we should be asking him why those police officers were so bold to get our manager out of our radio station. We need to investigate a lot of stuff there, what's going on. Unfortunately, our community is not here.
Time.
But be sure that they are participating with KPFT and they are 100% with our manager, Dr. Kamal.
Alma Cooper, Chris Leger. And then back to the top, and Greg Adele. And your note, you can address it.
Hi, my name is Alma Cooper, and I can see that this is just the beginning of the end of Pacifica if we don't stop it right now. This, I was informed, I didn't know it because I haven't participated at that time, but at the end of the 90s, there was a group that tried to sell Pacifica. And that people, I don't know if the same people or different people, but they are trying to sell Pacifica again. For example, Adriana got some people that tried to sell the archives. What the heck is this? This is not a private company. And the host of Capital Show, he posted on Facebook a long explanation under the private company rules, which is okay. Everybody that answered that said, that was great. That's what we need. Yes, is that what we need? Is that what goes with the Pacifica mission statement? No, it's not. This is not a private company. This is to voice the voiceless. So we have to stop it right now.
Chris Leger, and then Greg Ardell, and then that will wrap it up.
Hello, hey everybody, I'm Chris Leger. Some of you all may know me. I do show number 1002. Listen, I've been listening to what's been going on here at Pacifica, and I'm going to say this right now. It's not going to sound popular, but these charges of racism, okay, we got to stop that. Because the problem with organizations like ourselves, if we in here fight amongst ourselves, we are helping to exacerbate the problem, and we are really speeding up our demise. I'm old as dirt. I'm 44 years old, okay? And I do not get a racism vibe from KPFT at all. I don't want to say, I hate to say that, but let's not get sidetracked by racism. Let's focus on the problem at hand, and that's reaching out to the community and bringing people in. Because once we start this fighting amongst ourselves, we charging this person being racist, this person doing this, and that. All everybody on the outside is doing is just letting us tear ourselves up from within. So just be very, very careful with that. I mean, some of y'all don't agree with me, and if y'all don't, y'all can call me to the show. Okay. I'm not gonna yell at them.
There you go.
Somebody can see me in the parking lot.
First and foremost, what I wanted to open with at the beginning is I want to thank each and every board member who cares enough about representing the community to be here tonight. I mean, wherever you fall on the issue, it says something about your integrity that you are here to listen to the community, and I appreciate it. Secondly, for those of you who think the talk programs, the public affairs programs are a critical part of KPFT, I want you to know that just this afternoon, Larry Winters met with a staff member and said not only was he getting rid of as many talk shows as possible, but he was moving the Hispanic shows to 3 in the morning because if he just got rid of them, people were going to scream racism. But if he moved it to 3 in the morning, eventually they would get tired of coming in. So if you think the talk programs matter, if you think that exactly, I'm sorry, I do see racism in this. I do see it. And I'm not saying it as a firing point, but I see it. And I think if you care what KPFT is, it's not just about music. I love our music programs. They're wonderful. But they are no more important than the public affairs programs that give voice to the voiceless in our community. Thank you.
We're now at the point of this meeting where I am going to entertain motions from members of the board, and I will entertain all of them. So I guess I'll pass the microphone down first to Adriana Casanay, then Jim Krafka, and I also have something that I would like to put forth in the way of a motion.
Well, I'm the only board member, the only member that is part of the Pacifica National Board. KPFT have 4. I'm the only one in this meeting. The other 3 are not here.
Who are they?
Mr. Robert Mark, Mr. Bill Closer, and Rhonda Gunn. Yesterday, in executive session, the Pacifica National Board make a decision. They didn't have the courage to have that decision in open session for people to listen to. Executive session is when you talk about personnel, when you talk about matters that you cannot discuss because can jeopardize the station. Yesterday night, the Pacifica National Board, from all the other stations, plus our people in Houston, they support the decision of the interim executive director, Bill Closer. They give him more power. They talk about the bylaws and they give extra powers. All of that in executive session. The only way that you, the owners of Pacifica and KPFT, can keep it if you act in such a way that transparency needs to go there. Things cannot happen anymore in the back room. Dealing down there behind the people. If they have anything to say, we heard today that somebody said that this meeting we didn't have the executive director, the interim executive director that took that measure here. Well, he took the measure 36 hours after this same LSB support OBDK Canal, and we decided nothing was said in that meeting. 36 hours later, he went there and fired illegally without the due process, because every foundation has a process. We did it. I know I'm the only one that was in that executive session, but that couldn't be an executive session. You cannot make an executive session decision that change the bylaws. Okay? What I'm asking is for our board to question, or a motion to question our interim executive director and our PMB members, why they support this attitude and do something. We cannot have Bill Closer being the interim executive director of the foundation. I ask all of us to make a motion right now to put clear all the actions that were done to fire, that wind up with the firing of Dr. Canal. And it's not only happening at Houston, it's happening in other stations. And they are producing really terrible situations and liabilities to the foundation. They are costing the foundation thousands of dollars that they never will pay with their pocket. They will pay with the bankruptcy of the foundation. I ask our board to take action right now against our interim executive director, Mr. Bill Closer.
Adriana, what I would like you to do is put that in the form of a motion, and it will be on the agenda of our August 9th meeting. By hopefully next week, there will be an injunction that will prevent Larry Winters from serving as anything, and OBDK Kamal will be serving. Jim Kratka.
Friend in the audience who texted me to ask which of the board members, by a raise of hands, were consulted and asked to assist the interim executive director in...
Which one?
What?
Which one? Oh, Crozier, Bill Crozier, I'm sorry.
The interim executive director in coming up with his decision to fire OBDK. So now would be the time to get ready to Okay, that's quite good.
I want to try to be brief. I hate it when people say I'm going to try to be brief. Let me go on for hours. I want to encourage all of you to use your computers and go to the Pacifica Foundation bylaws. and I want you to read them. And there are two ways that you can get rid of a board member. One is by a 2/3 vote of the local station board. The other way is by a petition of about 200 people, 200 or 300. It's a percentage, 2% of the membership. And then a vote of a majority with a quorum being 10% of the membership. So what we need is about 600 votes out of the 6,000 or so members to guarantee that not only would he be removed from the local station board, I'm talking about Bill Crozier, he would also be removed from the national board, and he would be removed from the position of executive director of the foundation. These bylaws are important. The clause about quorum is early on in the bylaws. The clause about how you remove a member of the board is later on in board duties and responsibilities. But that is what we can do, and put this on the agenda. It doesn't have to be on the agenda, but the latter thing. You know, the board might be able to remove him as of August the 9th, but we can also move forward, maybe even more quickly, in terms of removing him by an election process and voting him off.
Hold on.
I have other members.
I move that any staff person being hired at KPFT, they must have broadcasting, radio broadcasting credentials for whatever position they are going into. Larry Winters does not have qualification. His resume can't equal my resume. So he has no business being general manager. That's all. For next week.
Please put these motions in writing. I'm going to open this up. Since, if with the board, okay, I'm going to open this up for a few more comments. And if any of you have ideas of motions, what you need to do is to give it to one of us on the board, and then we can debate it and we can vote on it. Well, we can do it tonight, but it won't have any standing, but it will go forward to the board. If it passes here tonight, it will go forward and be on the agenda on August the 9th.
Tell them they can also email it to us if they have a motion.
Yeah, but I have a question to the board. You're saying it takes 600 members to sign this petition?
Or 2%.
Whatever it is.
2% of 6,000.
Under the leadership of Dwayne Bradley, we could not even get ballots to vote for the board members. In 3rd Ward, I guess they lost the zip code 77004 because ballots did not go out. So you need to be for sure, somehow or another, that the membership, because if I go up there today, I'm not a member. Can you imagine? And so I know that there's at least 400, 500, 600 people that are not listed as members, and if it hadn't have been for Bob, people would have never known that. And the more he brought it up, the more he was suppressed under Dwayne Bradley.
This is why the restraining order, and I think we're going to get it from the district attorney's support. We're going to get it, and then he'll be back in, and he'll be able to control both the airwaves and also the membership lists.
Yeah, because isn't Rhonda in that membership department? How many is she burning after dark?
I'm just going to make this brief. I thought it was a major mistake. And please listen to this, a major mistake. I called over DK Kamau. I left a message for you in your inbox. I called Larry Winters, and I left a message for Bill Crozier that when it was put out that white people called the police and had black people marched out of KPFT station, and they knew it was Obadike that called the police, I thought it was a major mistake. Because if you understand COINTELPRO, the history of COINTELPRO in this country, you understand that there is a higher authority that does not want Pacifica to exist at all. If you believe that everybody in this room is your friend, and if you believe that everybody in this room is your enemy because they have white skin, COINTELPRO cuts across races. But they want us to fight among each other. They want us to distract us from other things that we need to be taken care of. And so when I read the Facebooks of people saying, the horrible people who marched black people out of KPFT, he is not black. It was sensationalized. It was used, I think, to manipulate us. That's my brilliant thinking. Because I've seen it happen in Pittsburgh, the East Coast, the West Coast. I've seen many people die and go to prison behind this sensationalization. I felt like the people in here who are supporting Obadike Kamau should have said, no! Obadike called the police and put it out straight with integrity. Y'all failed. Y'all dropped the ball on that. You should have called me when I left the messages. If I left a message and I asked to say I need to say something, you need to call me. And so that irritated me. I'm still sitting with it. And then I've asked certain other people, and y'all is okay with it, minimizing it. Oh, it's the bad people. We don't have to be clear on that. And the next time it happens, I'm going to say something else about it. I'm not rationalizing. I'm not going to fantasize. I'm not going to play this. Because if I don't tell him when I don't like something that he does, he's human, then I am not a true ally. And if you're afraid to correct him, then you need to go bring Dwayne back. You need to go get somebody else back. If you're going to fantasize that he's perfect, you're dangerous.
It's all in the day's work.
I've received...
Because of a lot of misinformation.
Turn the meat up, all out the droppers. It's all in the day's work.
Wait, hold on a second. I've received a motion. I want you to know what it is. It is, please put forward a motion to find that Bill Crozier was wrong to make a decision about the IGN in secrecy, and for that reason, Crozier should be removed from the LSB. I promise you that motion will be put forward on August the 9th.
Okay. It's very important because we are not in LSB and we don't have access to all information that you guys have. Can LSB, put it as a motion, have a site or a place that we trust that site as the latest information? Because before I come, I got an email that PMB didn't support Bill Crozier. Tonight I hear they supported.
Okay.
See, these are the confusing
All right.
questions. Would you please have a site?
Listen, hang on. By getting this injunction and putting Obadike back on the air, back in charge of the radio station on Monday, we will be able to have access to the airwaves. I made multiple attempts to get this meeting announced on the radio during the Open Journal program this morning, and my answer was silence. So we need him to be in control of the radio station, not the people who run that show on Monday through Friday from 8 to 9 a.m. And what we need to do is be able to put this message out, and we need between now and August the 9th the opportunity to let people know what's going on so that the community is...
That's my question.
I think PK has...
Is that the official for us? We want to trust one side that...
I'm going to respond. I'm going to let you folks respond, and then I'm going to ask PK to talk about the petition that she's gotten. Okay. Lisa, come on up. Come on up.
Question.
Come up so people can hear you.
One quick question in regards to the
Come up.
the injunction. Would it help the position of the injunction go through quicker or more thoroughly, or give a solider base if everyone in this room was to sign a petition right now and you could take that with you?
Yes.
Okay, I'll sign it up. Anybody else? Go in the front room. You got a piece of paper?
Well, someone needs to take charge. Adriana, did you want to speak to this, please? If you do, I'll give you the mic.
Give her the mic.
Well, then you need to, we can remove people based on the violence.
We print out name and zip code, is that enough?
Okay, what is the approach to signing a petition to go forward in this process? And you have to be a member, which means you have to have contributed $25 over the course of the past year, or 3 hours of volunteer time that has been documented. Okay, Lisa, why don't you come up? Okay. You know, this is unprecedented, but we're going to do it.
I just want to know the motions that y'all are doing. Can y'all also look into Dwayne Bradley and to Rhonda Gardner, who also works for the National Board? Because even though Bill Crozier is one man who did what he did, there's a group of people that I believe are in this, that made these decisions, and that are working together, obviously, because we're talking about racism, and it has been happening, racism, prejudice, sexual harassment, all that. Yes, it's been going on. I've been there almost 5 years, so I would say looking around the Gardner, if y'all please can. I've heard a lot of people talk about her, and Dwayne Bradley. He doesn't need to be there anymore.
Dwayne Bradley has no voting position in the Pacifica Foundation. It's up to the general manager as to whether or not he has a show on KPFT or not. In the case of Rhonda Gardner, yes, she's a member of the board and the national board. If she's removed from the local board, she would be removed automatically from the national board. The problem is if we start going out, any one of you that is a member of this foundation can initiate a petition to remove anybody on this board that you want to remove. And then it goes to a vote. So the bottom line is you as members have that power. And we can begin the process tonight, and I've been told it's name, address, and zip code. Okay? Okay. So, we don't, Kofi, why don't you come on up? Come on.
We'll let them know by their emails.
I think what we're going to have to do is to take control of the website of KPFT, which right now we don't have control of. I think the best place to find accurate information will be on the airwaves of KPFT, and once we get control of the airwaves, we can move forward. PK.
Let me just say this, first of all. One of the things that disturbed me the most when I decided to run for board is that there was a faction called Move KPFT Forward, and then there was another faction created called Stand for KPFT. And I did a Facebook page for myself, PK for KPFT, Community for KPFT. There have been a lot of narratives, Pacifica in Exile, different groups that have been giving you news all along. If we create something new, I think you all have to do it. I don't mind helping to do it, but as a board member, I do have a responsibility to be fair. And even with what I put out, like when the PNB sends me a letter or Bill Crozier sends me a letter, I put it on my Facebook page because I believe in transparency, including my responses. This is your station. I keep saying that. It is not ours. I have not asked anybody, nobody, to believe me. I've never asked anybody to believe me. I tell them what I know. I tell them where I get it from. I ask people to do their due diligence. And I would say that as I heard some of the things that are said in board meetings about different people, and I've told other people, I get responses like, well, I didn't hear that. So I can't do it, even though I'm doing the best I can do. But if you want to do this, then I suggest that we meet, allow everybody to be there, and you create a page, a name, social media, YouTube, and that it is honorable, honest, that it's not the emotional thing, because people need to know the facts. Some things I surmise because of patterns, but the things I do know is this. There was a white woman that's on the board that told another white woman that things were getting ready to change on Monday, and that PK would no longer be running KPFT. Believe me, if I were running KPFT, we wouldn't be having a problem right now, but I'm not. That said, I spoke to Greg Ardell and Obadike that since what happened in California, that this is the way they do it. They come in covertly and they get rid of you. Possession is 9/10 of the law. So I told Greg called Bill and asked him, and Greg told Bill, look, you know, you're going to make a lot of people unhappy, including the staff, and this is not the way to do it. And if you're going to do this, if you are thinking about firing Dr. Obadike Kamau, you need to tell me so that I can get it out on social media and let everybody else know. Now, we were told it was Monday. Bill showed up on Friday and did it, and was surprised that 30, I don't know, how many of us, that in 15 minutes the call went out that if he was going to do it, he was going to do it in front of an audience. Because the fact that he was doing it in secret is my biggest problem to everybody here on the board. That is just not right. Look, I can take being talked about. You know why? Because it doesn't affect me. But there are people on the board that their businesses have been affected, and I am adamant that nobody is going to have the legacy of obstructionists or hijackers except for that PMB majority right now. Rhonda told somebody, and then somebody said that they were bringing in a general manager from California. And I think that Winters has been victimized because he wasn't the person that Bill Crozier was bringing. Now that's a summation. I can't prove that other than what he has said to other white people. And that's the biggest problem. You know, that you think that someone that's from Louisiana is going to be racist. And then you learn that no, they're not. But we've got 17 white people on this board. I wouldn't have a problem with that by itself, except that it doesn't, where's the representation for everybody in this room? That's my problem. And it's because of that faction. So I don't want to create a faction, but I do want to create media, and it needs to belong to KPFT. It needs to. It needs to be yours. And the programmers can help do it, and like I said, I'll support you. Masood and I are both graphic designers. We've worked together before. We can do anything that you need to help, but it's got to come from you. It cannot come from me.
I have a very quick solution for you.
You don't never have a quick anything.
I listened to Greg, brother, but I listened to him on Greenwatch and Drive. I think he's a very fair person. You're not an LSP, right? No, okay. I suggest, if you really agree, because he's very familiar with everyone and he's very close, and he knows their problem, I suggest, if you don't mind, you take that responsibility to have a site, that all information that we read from that site, at least he knows it's 90% accurate. And you can have many people who will.
Okay, Johnny, is Johnny still here? Is somebody taking names, zip code, addresses and email? Bernard. Okay. We will, I'm pretty sure what we will do is we will put this up electronically and you will spread the word. We will ask you to spread the word so that we can get people to sign onto this petition. Lisa, come on up so people can hear you.
Who called the police when
No. I will tell you. What happened was Rhonda kept running into Obadike's office saying, we're going to call the police, into the staff meeting, saying, we're going to call the police because Obadike is no longer the interim general manager. I thought it was bullshit, and so I said to him, look, why don't you call the cops and get them thrown out of here? The cops then showed up and gave us false information and said I had to leave, he had to leave, and other members of the staff, including Greg Odell, had to leave the building. Okay, then the next day we went to the district attorney's office. They said it was bullshit, and so now Obadike has the right, as do the rest of us, to go back into the station. Okay? Okay.
How many people volunteer do you need to go with you when you start a workshop at KPFT? How many?
None. Any of us can walk into the radio station as members of this radio station, as members of the community.
Yeah, y'all can too.
Anytime.
No, what day and time are you planning to go with Obadike? Because I don't want to be there.
I've been there already. I will go all the time.
Monday at 9.
Monday at 9 o'clock.
Monday at 9.
Okay?
Monday at 9.
Okay, so the bottom line is everyone here needs to sign the petition, and we will...
What is the petition?
It's a petition to put forward a ballot to the membership as to whether or not Bill Crozier should be removed as a member of this board, the national board, and the interim executive director. Teresa, come on up here. Okay. And we are going to adjourn in just a few
There's an
moments.
online petition. That one too. There's two petitions.
As someone who has been arrested at the station when Garland Gander was the general manager, I'll be happy to talk to you about it, but it was very costly, and Dick DeGuerin was my attorney, and his office was my attorney. But let me just say, when you get arrested, you can't always tell what's going to happen, okay? But I've been to jail for justice there. So I think the station is not really eager to have people arrested, so it's really clear that if you say, if there's a conflict and people say, hey, we're taking over the station, those people that, for example, if Larry Winters has been told that he's in charge, and he thinks there's going to be disruption of the station because our license is at stake, you can't have people taking over the station and going into the... I'm sorry? No, I'm just saying it's a very delicate position, a situation when you think you have to call the police. And when I was arrested, nobody told me that I would be arrested if I came into the station, okay? I was not given notice. So at least in that instance, somebody said, the situation is pretty volatile here. If we have to call the police, we will. I'm sad that it's happened, that the police were called at all, but in that situation, I'm just telling you from experience, and I'd be happy to talk to you about the situation.
Teresa, give the microphone.
And I just want to say one other thing. PK, you said something about 17 people on this board are white. We used STV. The people that voted were the ones that voted the people, whatever their race, whatever their age or ethnicity, or whatever their persuasion. So it's important that you vote, and it's important that people that are diverse run for the board. So.
Please give Adrian the
Ted, I have
microphone.
a short question.
Excuse me, there's a petition back here for removing Bill. So anybody that's interested, come to the back table, please.
Okay. I have a short question. Will he call me so I can come?
Let her.
Thank
Okay. All right.
What do you want me?
I'll have one too.
What do you want me to address, that night? The conversation?
And then one should stand up for goodness sake.
Horrible public speaker. I apologize already. The night in question, the day in question where Friday, before the media came, I sent out a message to Bill Crozier requesting to talk to him before things got out of hand. And he got back to me. And then we had a conversation where it was a very civil conversation where I asked Bill, I didn't expect to ever make this private, but I've had to now because, well, you'll see. So the night that this happened, we spoke, and I said, Bill, the optics are horrible, the community's outraged. This was a horrible, hasty decision. You can clearly see that by the boardroom conversations that we had, that this is just really not the way to go about anything. If you're really dissatisfied with this person's performance, why not put him under a performance improvement plan? Give him specific goals to reach in a feasible time frame. Don't ask for pie in the sky. Don't ask for the moon in 5 days. But a PIP is a performance improvement plan, and people get put on them all the time. And you're supposed to go into this PIP with the attitude that this employee should succeed. You want this employee to succeed. It's not setting them up for failure. And the end of we concluded at the end of that conversation that he agreed that he would put Dr. Kamau on a performance improvement plan, but that Larry Winters would come in as an assistant to Dr. Kamau in whatever ways Dr. Kamau saw fit to implement the talents that this person would be assisting, So the next morning I woke up and I said, can I take this back to the group? He said yes, but make sure that you restrict it to these things. Plus, he also said in his, since he's not here to speak for himself, that there are many things in Dr. Kamau's plan that he would have liked to see that he did not see, and Dr. Kamau would need to supplement that plan that he had, which I communicated all of this to Dr. Kamau afterwards. And the next morning I woke up to a slew of emails, as we all do at the LSB, and about 500 a day. And the story had changed. And I emailed Bill Crozier to say, look, this is not what we discussed, please clear this up, because I innocently thought that this was clearly a misunderstanding, that he would clear it up. But obviously that's not what happened. And again, I never thought I would make this conversation public, but by the fact that he went back, now he may have his reasons for doing so, but they were never made clear to me, nor was it ever intimated that, hey, I apologize, clearly I made you go to a group of people, tell them something, now I made you look like, an idiot. So that wasn't great, that wasn't a great part for me. But all this to say that what's happening at KPFT is you think that you're getting a little ways with something, and it's kind of taken back from you. And in French, we say done de done, give and give, done de done. And the same thing happened with Larry Winters, and I have to quickly address this super quickly. One of the first orders of business that Mr. Winters had basically is we had a committee that was convening to investigate. And I'm going to be very vague with this because I need to be for everyone's protection, but to investigate a gesture that was made to a fellow LSB member. And we needed to put that forth in front of a committee. And I had reserved the boardroom at KPFT for that purpose. Now this is 4 women getting together to investigate a situation with people coming in to testify. Very important part of the process when you're on a board committee. when you're on a board like this. So his first order of business was to have Rhonda Gardner call me to tell me that because of the hubbub that had gone on with the Dr. Kamal situation on Friday, that we needed to move our committee elsewhere. And this was at the last minute. Now, I'm a board member who has a legitimate board committee that was voted on by all of these board members to investigate a board member. I can't use the board at KPFT for which I'm a board member. Like, the irony of it was shocking. So when I asked him, why won't you let us use our boardroom for this sanctioned investigation that we were asked to do, he said, well, I believe in forgiveness. So basically, he had appointed himself judge and jury for this, and he had basically decided that since he found that we should forgive this board member for this, that he was going to disallow us from doing our very important work at KPFT as board members. So that is a true statement, and I have asked him to put in writing exactly why, other than he believes in forgiveness, because that's really our job to figure out what we're going to do. It's not his job to make an assessment beforehand, be judge and jury, and then because he doesn't think that, we're going to do the right thing, that he's not going to let us do our job. So anyway.
Thank you so much.
Hold on.
Thank you.
In a moment. I want to let you know that I understand, Johnny, hold on. There's been 16 years of not following the Corporation for Public Broadcasting open meeting laws. Committee meetings and board meetings are supposed to be announced frequently. That is one of the reasons why the board voted to not renew the contract of Dwayne Bradley. Okay, and now we're finding that we can't use meeting space at KPFT. So it's not new, it's a pattern. There has been a committee formed to investigate a number of inappropriate actions taken by Bill Crozier. That committee is going to welcome testimony from people. If you think you have something to say that would make the case that Bill Crozier should be removed from this board, you should, or penalized in some way, you should notify me and the rest of the board by sending an email to lsb@kpft.org. Also, if you wish to be on the program council, this is something that has been in limbo for many months, about 7, when Dwayne Bradley was still the general manager. We could not move forward by announcing that the program council is going to be formed. If you want to help to give Dr. Kamal advice on the kind of programming that should be on KPFT in the future, this decision will be made in our August meeting. If you're interested in running for the program council, please send a notice to the lsb@kpft.org. There is somebody by the door who's taking a collection to pay money to Shade Community Center for the use of the space tonight. And there is an event happening on July 29th, this Watermelon Dance and Summer Social, a way to get in for free and help to run the event, and volunteers are needed. Again, let the LSB@KPFT know right away. Okay, now, Akua, you wanted to say something more? Okay, and... Okay.
I'll be short. Someone in the back is asking, what can you do, what can you do? And my Sue's been saying, what can you do, what can you do? There's a petition out, right? There's a petition out. You can also write the national board. And I think this board can give you the email address, or it's online. The national board, they haven't heard from us. And I don't understand why, again, that there are other people from New York City here meddling in our business in Houston. I don't get that. Yeah, and California and other signal areas. Why can't Houston's board, Houston's listening audience, take care of our own business? We should demand that. Other station managers and board members should not be here meddling in the business that's happening here in Houston. And excuse me, I'm not talking to you personally, I'm talking to this audience, not you. And the other thing is, no one's talked about the previous manager who had been on duty for 15 years and lost 50% of our funding and 50% of our membership. And all of a sudden, there's a different criteria for Dr. Kamau. If that's not contradictory, something is wrong with that. And I'm very upset about it, and it should not happen.
Okay. Folks, Adriana, you're not speaking to the back of the room. If you want to come up here and talk, I'm going to ask anybody who's raising their hands to make some final comments. I said we would be out of here at 10 o'clock.
I've been waiting a long time to ask a question.
Please keep.
I've been waiting a long time. I left KPFT in 2014 because of the insanity after doing a long-term programming. I'm giving you a proposal. You need to get me back on air. Would you agree?
Yes.
You need to have my kind of talk show in the middle of the day as a woman of color because I do a powerful show and I've been waiting for 6 months. Obadike has a proposal. You have a proposal, and I want somebody from the programs committee to tell me when you're going to put me back on air. Thank you.
Okay.
May I say something?
Come up here, Alma.
I want to say something that happened in KPFT in the last fund drive. KPFT was obligated, Dr. Kamal was obligated, and we have proof of that, to bring somebody from California to tell us or tell the programmers how to raise money. Right? Then people said, well, only cost the ticket and the hotel. No, it's not true. The KPFT was obligated to buy 2 packages that cost $2,500 each. And the money for that went directly to the speaker that come here. I mean, my question is, that cost KPFT almost $7,000 to bring somebody to teach us how to raise money, and then we complain that we didn't, we didn't have so much money in that contract. But the question is, how could it happen in this foundation that some employee that is being paid have their own business and the checks go to their personal account and all of us, it's not KPFT, it's all of us that pay for that. We put that $7,000. And he's an employee.
I'm going to allow 2 more people to speak, and then I'm going to entertain a motion to adjourn. A lot of what you're hearing right now is the kind of stuff that the committee investigating Bill Crozier needs to hear, that will then, if they feel that it's appropriate, they will bring it to the board on August the 9th. Okay.
Because I can't. I wanted to answer something, and I'm trying not to. I stopped after the first couple of months responding to everything that everybody said. But let me say something again about 17 members. Alma is going to tell you, she gave us a 16-page report about the election. I was on a document along with another person of color, and the majority of the people on this card for Move KPFT were white. 77004, how many times did I call you, Alma? Every other day. We did not get our ballots, and it wasn't just my house or Pat's house, but it was Sister Mama's house, and a lot of people in 77004. I went to the post office and said, these were things that were handed out. Now, I got the Move KPFT Forward card, but I did not get a ballot. And what happens is that you don't get a ballot, you have to figure out a way to get a ballot, right? How many people were going to do that? How many votes did we actually lose in that manner? And was it an accident? The post office says maybe 1 or 2 sections of an area code, but not an entire area code. So I think that it was purposeful. But the reason is not because there weren't people of color running for the board. It was because it was a setup to not make the station black and to be particular in the white people that they got to be on this board. The petition is at thepetitionsite.com, and all you have to do is put Dr. Obadike's name in it. You can see the petition, and in there will be some updates about maybe some fundraisers and a fund drive for those who have been unfairly targeted at this particular place and time.
One quick clarification. This is Alma Cooper. Alma Biscara was the election supervisor. I spoke with her today. She will resurrect her report talking about all of the inconsistencies, violations in the election that she identified as the election supervisor, and that will all be brought forward in the weeks ahead as we quickly get this thing resolved. Alma, you got the last word.
Yeah, thank you for the clarification. What I would like the members of the board of the LSB ask to be at least one time in open journals, because Dwayne and that woman, Marlon Blue, are using that time to present themselves like they are the victims, and they are so cynic to talk so calm and so nice, and people's gonna really believe they are the victims. So somebody from the board or somebody else asked to be at least 1 or 2 times a week to talk about this side of the story. And very calm, because they take the advantage to be so cynic.
I'm going to entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. Thank you all very much for coming tonight. Thank you.